So hi everyone, a blessed day to all of you. Praying that all of you are safe and doing well together with your families and loved ones. And I'm also praying for God's guidance and blessings as He accompany you in this journey of nursing. So I'm also praying that you will be blessed with wisdom, knowledge, skills, and attitude necessary of becoming a professional nurse. So this week, we will talk about the theory of Rosemarie, Rizzo, Parse. So her theory is well known internationally as human becoming. So let us get to know about the theorist, or about Parse. She is a graduate of Duquesne University of Pittsburgh. So meaning she finished her nursing degree as well as her master's degree and her doctorate degree in the same university. She works as a faculty and dean of nursing school at Duquesne University in 1977 to 1982. She is also a professor and coordinator of the Center for Nursing Research at Hunter College of the City University of New York in 1983 to 1993. So like many other theorists we discussed in the previous session, she has received numerous honors and awards. Okay, and one of this is the 2 Lifetime Awards from Midwest Nursing Research Society, and the second one is from Asian American Pacific Islander Nurses Association. So, let us get to know her more by watching this video clip.
Rosemarie, I'd like to thank you so very much for agreeing to do this interview. I'm really looking forward to what you have to tell us today.
Well, I appreciate being asked to talk with you.
I'd like to start by asking you, what was your motivation for developing the theory of man-living health?
I think the ideas underpinning the theory really grew in me over time. I think they began long ago. When I was a child, I had wonderful parents and a good, strong family, and my values for the human being and the dignity of being human grew from that time. So I think all through my educational process, I developed those values. But I can remember, as an undergraduate student, having this gnawing awareness that the medical model was limited as a guide for nursing practice. And I raised questions like, why do people not follow health teaching? And like, why do some people who do not get well? And so these ideas and questions perplexed me as I practiced and as I guided students. And so I was searching for a framework from which to practice nursing that connected with my values of the human-to-human relationships.
I'd like to ask what influenced you, what led you to the assumptions that underlie your theory?
I read widely, and I found that Martha Rogers' work was very consistent with my own views, particularly the area where she talked about the human-environment mutual process. And at the same time, I was reading in the literary works of Camus and Kafka and philosophers like Husserl and Kierkegaard and Heidegger and Merleau-Ponty and Sartre. And I began to put these ideas together to develop a unique perspective of nursing. And while my work is neither existential phenomenology nor Rogers, it's a new product that came out of the assumptions that I developed. I the roots were in those particular areas.
How has your work influenced other people? For example, how does the theory help nurses to think about nursing?
Well, it's a whole different perspective than the traditional view of nursing. Its basic view about human beings is different. It's built on the assumption that human beings co-author health. It's built on the assumption that the human-environment relationship is a mutual process, not cause-effect. So it's a whole different perspective, a whole different way of thinking about being human. This particular view calls out a different kind of practice and a different kind of research. If you believe the person is co-author of health, then the nurse is not the authority figure in relation to the changing of health. The person is. So it's a view of nursing that puts the focus on the person's own way of being and becoming.
So it's nice to know her more. Let us proceed to her theory. By the way, as a recap, her theory is consistent with the theory of Martha E. Rogers, the principles and postulates about unitary human beings. And it is consistent with the major tenets and concepts from existential phenomenological thought. But according to her, it is a new product and it has a different conceptual system. Okay, so let us proceed. Like many other theorists, she was also able to publish books. Okay, and one of these are the following: Nursing Fundamentals, Man Living Health, A Theory of Nursing, Nursing Science, Major Paradigms, Theories and Critics, Qualitative Inquiry, The Path of Sciencing, Illuminations, The Human Becoming Theory in Practice and Research, The Human Becoming School of Thought, A Perspective for Nurses and Other Health Professionals, and lastly, in this presentation, is The Hope and International Human Becoming Perspective, and many more. She was able to chair more than 40 doctoral dissertations and guided more than 300 students with creative research. She was a knowledge developer, researcher, professor, and many more positions in nursing practice. So her theory has the following major concepts. Okay, there are 3 principles which constitute the human becoming theory. So, flowing from these themes are meaning, rhythmicity, and transcendence. Okay, so each principles actually contains 3 concepts that require thoughtful exploration to understand the depth of the human becoming theory. So let us discuss each principle. Okay, the first one is known as a structuring meaning. This means that, or it refers to the imaging and valuing of languaging. So this principle specifies that a person structure or choose the meaning of the realities, and this choosing happens with explicit tacit knowing. So it's the way the people see the world, or the image of the reality, and how they create this reality with others. Okay, so may pagkaiba-ibang meaning, no? They show their express reality through language in ways of their speaking, movement, or through silence. Okay, so sometimes there are questions, sometimes unanswerable questions, because people may not know what they think or feel one way or another. So, according to this first principle, it has three concepts. So, again, ang bawat principles niya mayroong tatlong concept. And the first concept under your structuring meaning is the imaging. So, this is the first concept of the first principle. So, imaging means or refer to the shaping of personal knowledge explicitly, tacitly. When we say a personal knowledge explicitly, pag sinabi natin explicitly, this means it is already codified, no? Or it refers to the knowledge that is easily identified, articulated, shared, and employed. People are inherently curious and seek to find answers and figure things out. And it refers to a personal interpretation of meaning, possibility, and consequences. So, nurses cannot know another's imaging. But what we can do, hindi natin alam kung ano yung iniisip ng isang tao, ng ating patient. Kung ano yung ibig sabihin ng patient natin doon sa isang situation, kung paano niya na-interpret yon, we cannot know that as a nurse. But what you can do as a nurse, for you to know it, is to explore. To explore, ano ba yung cause? To explore, for you to know the meaning, kung ano yung meaning para sa kanila nung certain situation. And you have to respect and bear witness as people struggle with shaping, exploring, integrating, rejecting, and interpreting of the situation. So, let us proceed to the second concept under your structuring meaning. So, this refers, or this is the second concept of your first principle. This means, or the paradox of valuing is a confirming, not confirming of cherished beliefs in the light of personal worldview. Persons are continuously making choices about how to think, act, and feel, and these choices, or they may be radically different and require a shifting of value priorities. This concept is about how the person confirm or do not confirm beliefs in light of a personal perspective na, no, or view. So, values reflect what is important in life to a person or a family. So, ano ba yung mas importante para sa kanila? Okay, these choices may be consistent with prior choices. Okay. Sometimes people may think about anticipated choices. And once the choice arrives, they change their thinking and direction in life. Okay, so may mga in-offer tayong choices. Ano ang mas importante para sa kanila? So, values reflect what is important in life to a person or a family. And according to Parse, living one's value priorities is how an individual expresses human becoming. So, as a nurse, you learn about personal values by asking them what is most important for them. So, you have to present a certain situation, and then you can explore in that, and you can ask, ano ba yung mas importante sa kanila, mas priority. So, that's valuing. And the third concept of the first principle is languaging. So, it refers to concept that relates to how human beings symbolize and express their image realities and their value priorities. So, nalaman mo na, no, paano nila binigyan ng meaning yung isang situation and ano yung kanilang priority from the previous concept. often expressed in patterns that are shared with those who are close. Okay, sino ba yung mga close lang sa kanila? These are actually the family members or their close friends that often shared with them with similar patterns, no? So people disclose things about themselves through language. We communicate, okay? So Parse wants us nurses to ask our patient, no, to ask people what their words, actions, and gestures mean. Kasi probably iba yung meaning para sa kanila, iba naman yung meaning para sa iyo kasi iba-iba nga yung world view natin. Okay. The second principle of human becoming theory is the co-creating. So, the words co meaning together, not together, co-creating. So, in co-creating, human beings create patterns in day-to-day life, and these patterns tell about personal meanings and values. So, from the word co-creating, so as I mentioned a while ago, Parse means that co, ibig sabihin is together with, and for her, or for Parse, humans can never be separated from their relationship with the universe. Okay. So, under your co-creating principle, there are also 3 concepts under that. And the first concept is revealing, concealing. So, the notion of mystery is central to understanding this paradoxical concept. So, mystery is also relevant because there is always more for people to know about themselves and others. So, patterns of revealing, concealing are co-created and intimately linked to the mutual process of the moment and the intentions of those persons present. People also disclose or not disclose differently in different situations and with different people. So, patterns of revealing, concealing are co-created and intimately connected with the intentions of those persons co-creating the moment. In choosing how to be with others, nurses co-create what happens when they are with persons. So, as a nurse, andyan ka with a patient, so you will be observing, no? You will be guiding with your client, and you have to co-create, okay, ng meaning, ng situation, or kung meron bang changes that will happen to the client because nagkaroon na siya ng knowledge, as mentioned natin in our previous concept, na nagkaroon siya ng ideas or knowledge, o pwedeng magkaroon ng changes, no, doon sa pattern na yun na yung i-apply ni patient later on. So, in the second concept here, under your second principle, is enabling limiting. So, it is connected with the paradox potentiating restricting. So, it represents the freedom and opportunities that surface with the restrictions and obstacles of everyday living. It is not possible to know all the consequences of any given choice. Therefore, people make choices amid the reality of ambiguity. So, alam naman talaga natin na when we make, or you have to kahit hindi sa atin or even the patient, alam nila, or you have to inform the client na yung choices na ginawa nila, possible may mga consequences yon. Sometimes, hindi natin unknown talaga yung consequences of their choices. Okay, for example lang, in one situation, diba? Halimbawa, meron silang kailangang piliin or mag-decide kung ano yung mas priority nila. So sometimes they don't know, or even us, we don't know what are the consequences. Sometimes naman obvious ang consequence of that, diba? So this is about choosing from the possibilities and living with the consequences of those choices. So you have to accept when you do a choice. Pag meron ka ng napili na choice, of course, you know, diba, you have to, kung ano man ang consequence nun, you have to accept that. You have to live with that. So, nurses bear witness to others as they contemplate the options and anticipated consequences of difficult choices. So, the third concept under your second principle is the connecting, separating. So this relates to the ways person create patterns of connecting and separating with people and object. So this explains the way two people can be very close and yet maintain separateness between the two. This concept relates to or reveal the value priorities, no? Connecting, separating is about communion or aloneness and the ways people separate from some to join with others. And the third principle is transcending. Okay. So this means, or this refers to powering unique ways of originating in the process of transforming. Persons are always engaging with the choosing from infinite possibilities, and the choices reflect the person's way of moving and changing in the process of becoming. So, nakita mo na yung meaning, nag-offer ng choices, then nagkaroon ng, di ba, may priority. So this time, ito na yung magre-reflect na yung changes na that will happen, no, based doon sa choices na pinili ni patient. Okay? So again, this third principle has three concepts under it, and one is powering. So it refers to the pushing, resisting process of affirming, not affirming, being in light of non-being. Okay, and non-being is about loss and the risk of death and rejection. So powering is the force exerted, that is the pushing to act and live with purpose amid possibilities for affirming and holding what is cherished, while simultaneously living with loss and threat of non-being. So may existence, may possibility of losing someone kasi may sickness, or diba, there is always resistance with the pushing force of powering because persons live with others who are also powering toward different possibilities. So, alam naman natin, meron talagang resistance, mahirap i-accept. Halimbawa, merong loss of someone close to your heart or for your family members. So, that's very difficult to accept, diba? So, sometimes meron talagang resistance. And the second concept here is originating. So, this concept is about human uniqueness, meaning each person defines and lives originating in light of their worldview and values. So, medyo mahirap, there are two paradoxes under your originating. And those are the conforming, not conforming, meaning people strive to be like others and yet they also strive to be unique. Diba sometimes naaano mo yan, na-feel mo yan, you want to be like somebody, meron kang idol, gusto mo maging katulad sa kanya in the future, yet you want to be unique, ayaw mo naman ng totally na katulad ka talaga niya, you want to be unique because you are, as individual, as human being, we are unique. Or the other one is certainty, uncertainty. It is not possible to know all that may come from choosing to be different or from choosing to be like others. So, of course, di na naman, meron talagang mga disadvantages yan. And the last concept under your third principle is the transforming. So people are always struggling to integrate the unfamiliar with the familiar in living the everyday life. It refers to the ongoing change characteristic of mutual process in human ingenuity as people find ways to change in the direction of their cherished hopes and dreams. So, you have to transform based on your choices. Diba nagkaroon ka ng choices, valuing. So, this time, karoon na tayo ng transformation. So, there are 3 themes linked with the human becoming theory, and these are the following. Number 1 is the meaning, as mentioned kanina. Meaning born in the messages individuals give and take with others in speaking, acting, silence, and stillness. Personal meanings are shared with others when people express their views, concerns, hopes, and dreams. And again, so depende kung pinagkakatiwalaan tayo. Okay, if you're the nurse, you need to get or you need to gain the trust of your patient. Rhythmicity. People live in repeatable patterns that are their priorities, and that these patterns are constantly changing as people engage new experience and ideas. Of course, people are recognized by their unique patterns that signify a consistency and change. And the last one is the last theme is the transcendence. It refers to the infinite possibility that is human becoming, and to believe one thing or another, to go on in one direction or another, to be persistent or to let go, to struggle or to acquiesce, to hope or despair. All these options surface in day-to-day life, and that is true, right? Okay, so these are the meta paradigms of the theory of Rosemarie Rizzo Parse. So nursing, according to her, it is hope of many nurses that nursing as a discipline will enjoy the recognition of having a unique knowledge base, and the profession will be sufficiently distinct from medicine. So yun talaga yung gusto niya. That people will actually seek nurses for nursing care but not a medical diagnosis. Of course, the people will ask for nursing care. Iba yung care na binibigay natin than the medical. Because yung sa medical nga, diba, from the term medical, it's more of, the concern is more of the medication. Okay. The physiological aspect of the human being. So nursing is a unique service to humankind. And it's learned discipline, and nursing theories guide practice and research. So, it is a science, and the performing art is practiced in relationship with persons in their processes of becoming. So, you have to be with the person up to the transformation phase. So, these are the set of fundamentals for practicing the art of nursing. You, according to her, know and use nursing frameworks and their theories in your practice. In the application of these frameworks and theories in the practice. You have to be available with others, value the other as a human presence, respect differences in views, own what you believe, and be accountable for your action. Move on to the new and untested, of course, which means you have to explore more. You have to find answers of those and unanswerable questions, and connect with others, meaning communicate with others, take pride in self, like what you do, or you have to love what you do, diba? Yun. Recognize the moments of joy in the struggles of living. Appreciate mystery and be open to new discoveries. Be competent in your chosen area. Rest and begin anew. Okay, that's the fundamentals for practicing the art of nursing according to Rizzo Parse. So, person, environment, health, viewed as human universe, human becoming, and living quality. Human and universe is inseparable according to Parse. To emphasize this inseparability, she specified human universe and human becoming as one word. Okay, so walang as one word. As you can see, it's one word. Okay. And then, a living quality, no, instead of health. She did not define health, or she did not use the term health. Instead of health, she used a living quality, which refers to person's core whatness, the stuff of a life. What is the whatness? It is the living community that each individual of us presents is the human universe co-creation with predecessors, contemporaries, and successors. Okay. So, the living quality has three core knowings. It is the fortifying wisdom, discerning witness, and penetrating silence. So, fortifying wisdom refers to the person's or the person choose ways of being according to their value priorities. So, pipili sila kung ano ba yung decision nila or way nila in doing a thing according to their value priorities. Living discerning witness, person chooses certain pattern preferences that create both opportunities and restrictions all at once. And living penetrating silence, an individual ponders in silence and illimitable opportunities available to him or her for creating anew. So, tayo naman sometimes really need silence for us to think, for us to brainstorm. So, human universe health process. The concepts human, universe, and health as inseparable and irreducible according to Parse. Health is a personal commitment. Health is an individual incarnating his or her own value priorities. Health is a personal creation and personal responsibility. Persons change and are changed with the universe or based on the experiences. Persons influence and are influenced by others. That's real. That's true. Diba? Sometimes, yun na nga, may idol tayo, gusto natin maging katulad tayo sa iba, lalo na kapag successful yun. Make sure lang na yung gusto nating maging katulad is positive siya, no? People become known and understood as they coexist with the universe through their patterns of relating with people, ideas, culture, history, meanings, and hopes. To understand human life and human being, an individual must start from the premise that all people are interconnected with predecessors, contemporaries, and even people who are not yet present in the world. So from the past, present, and the future. So, for the application of the theory, you can read the case study on page 390 to 391. Sorry, this is typographical error. So, that actually ends our presentation, and this is the references, or these are the references of this presentation. So, I hope you learned something from the theory of human becoming. Okay. Of Rosemarie Rizzo Parse. Thank you everyone and God bless.